Nicholas Cross back here with you, and we've got a huge main event on the evening. We've got Brandon Gaston and Mecurio Jr. taking on Sabu and Willie Mac. And you know, this announcer has been around as we got to go behind a single leg, and then Sabu stomps right on the back of Mecurio Jr. I've been around for many, many years in the business of professional wrestling, and I want to tell you one of the hardest things for me to do is keep up with one Mecurio Jr. as he rolls through, taking Sabu up into a hammerlock, and then a single leg of his own. He goes over into a pin, 1-2. No, Sabu got his shoulder up. You're not going to beat Sabu that easily. As I was saying, one of the hardest things for me to do in my career is to keep up with this guy, Mecurio Jr. He's one of the most unbelievable, quickest, high-flyingest superstars in the business of professional wrestling that I've seen in quite some time, as you watch as Sabu is really slowing him down here in this headlock. But Mecurio Jr. with the elbow to the ribs now, he's not going to last long in a headlock, because he's going to find a way, but he's not going to beat Sabu in a test of power, but he does kip up. Sabu now turns around, a big kick right to the outer thigh. Sabu now into the ropes. Mecurio Jr.'s reversed into the ropes. Sabu now goes for a hip toss. Mecurio Jr. blocks it. Hip tosses Sabu on his own. A little bit of power shown there by Mecurio Jr., and now a big drop kick, sending Sabu reeling into the floor. And then Mecurio Jr. off the ropes. He's going to come around, and what's going to happen? Sabu goes down. Mecurio Jr. spots it and says, "Not today," as he gives us a winged eagle. Sabu, a veteran. Mecurio Jr. with the ability to have foresight. He sees that Sabu was ready, and he gets out of the way as both Sabu and Mecurio Jr. tag in their respective partners. And now we're going to see the powerhouses, Brandon Gaston and Willie Mac. And, of course, Willie Mac's one of the top stars around here these days, as you can hear that the crowd is really behind it. And I just can't wait to see these two big bulls lock horns and see what happens between the two of these guys, because it's going to be a brawl. And, of course, Brandon Gaston not wanting to lock horns as he goes down below, and then a few punches right to the face, elbow to the cranium, right across the eyebrow that time. And now Willie Mac fires back with a big right hands right to the face of Brandon Gaston. He's into the ropes. Willie Mac now is going to whip him off. Out he comes. Big clothesline, nearly tore the head off of Brandon Gaston. And that's what you have to watch out for when you're in the ring with Willie Mac, is he has the ability to bring offense from any angle. He's going to Irish whip him now into the corner. Brandon Gaston reverses. Willie Mac doing a handstand in the corner with a little bit of the jiggles. He then whips himself over. Brandon Gaston not knowing what to expect. Willie Mac off the ropes, ducks the elbow, and a big shoulder block nearly tears Brandon Gaston's head off as Brandon Gaston goes to the floor, and it looks like Willie Mac is going to give chase with a big double axe handle right off the apron, and Brandon Gaston is in trouble. Big right hands. Now, Mecurio Jr. and Sabu back in the ring and back out of the ring, and you got to know this is a dangerous place for Mecurio Jr. to be as Sabu lays in a big right hand. Sabu is known as a hardcore icon from his years in Extreme Championship Wrestling, and when Sabu gets outside of that ring, Sabu becomes super dangerous, especially when he's got a chair, hits him right in the hip, brings it right to the midsection, and Sabu launches the chair right into the temple of Mecurio Jr., and Mecurio Jr. is in trouble. On the other side of the ring, Willie Mac and Brandon Gaston are going at it, and they are beating the snot out of each other. Mecurio Jr. now coming to his feet. He gets one good lick in, and Sabu's hunched over. Looks like he's going to ring his bell. Nope. Sabu blocks, elbows Mecurio, and did you see the chin of Mecurio Jr. as it bounced off the steel post? And now we see Brandon Gaston and Willie Mac back in the ring. They're working each other over as he goes into a side Russian leg sweep, and Sabu on the outside doing a little bit of his own damage as he goes into the vaunted camel clutch. Brandon Gaston lays a knee down on Willie Mac. Sabu lays the camel clutch in on Mecurio Jr. And this is what I love about these matches, is action is everywhere. Brandon Gaston now reversed into the corner. Willie Mac into the other corner. He comes in a big clothesline, nearly tears his head off, and back for another big shoulder right into the chest of Brandon Gaston. Willie Mac off. He goes around, floats around. Looks like Brandon Gaston's going to get a DDT. No, Willie Mac shoots him off. Samoan drop coming. Boom! Brandon Gaston may be dead. Willie Mac kips up as Mecurio Jr. is stretching Sabu in the octopus. What in the world is going to happen next? Who knows? Action personified right here, right now. And these fans are getting their money's worth as Mecurio Jr. lays a knee into the midsection. But Sabu, not looking like he gives any kind of care, coming into the ring, chasing after Mecurio Jr. now, once again with a chair, and that's a dangerous weapon in the hands of Sabu as he launches the chair again, this time right across the forehead of Mecurio Jr. And if he wasn't wearing the mask, we may see crimson streaming down the face. Sabu now laying in the boots. He set the chair up for position, and we have seen this before. The big leg lariat over in the corner, and Mecurio Jr. is in trouble. Willie Mac and Brandon Gaston working on the outside. It looks like Brandon Gaston's getting the best of Willie Mac as he just took him down with a huge clothesline, but Mecurio Jr.'s foot was on the rope. Now I'm curious if anybody knows who the legal man is here. As Sabu now with the chair, there you see the worst for wear. Willie Mac took a big clothesline. Once again, Sabu setting up for that leg lariat. But I might want to warn you, one too many times to the well. And Mecurio Jr. is going to be on offense as he springboards into a drop kick right on the chin. Buttoned perfectly on the chin of Sabu. And Sabu's in a world of hurt. But now Mecurio Jr. with the chair all his own as he goes into Sabu. What are we going to see here? Sabu reverses, drop toe hold. Oh my God! Mecurio Jr.'s nose smashed into the chair, and it may be broken. Arabian facebuster, but it don't look like he got all of it. As it's Brandon Gaston now coming in. Brandon Gaston got Sabu hooked from behind. I'm not sure what we're going to do here. Brandon Gaston looking like he's having a little problem. Sabu just punched Brandon Gaston right in the nose. Punched him right in the nose. Looked like he knocked him clean out. Brandon Gaston looks like he's out on his feet. And now Sabu, who may or may not have been the legal man, tagged Willie Mac in. Willie Mac, oh my gosh, he just kicked Brandon Gaston right in the chest just to insult a little bit more. Now Willie Mac's going to pick up Mecurio Jr. and going to show him a little bit of business. Big chop right to the chest. You can hear those chops thundering off of the arena walls here, and you know Mecurio Jr. is really feeling it. Now Willie Mac's going to whip Mecurio Jr. in. It's a reversal. Mecurio Jr. big clothesline on Willie Mac. You know, you never know what you're going to see here as Mecurio Jr. just overpowered Willie Mac. Unbelievable. Once again, action personified. What's Mecurio Jr. going to do here is he kicks Willie Mac in the chest, takes him into the ropes. It's a reversal now. Mecurio Jr. off. Willie Mac leapfrogs, roll behind. Mecurio Jr. into a cartwheel. What are we going to see here? Ducks around the side. Goes for a clothesline. Mecurio Jr. blocks. Into a short arm. Into a tilt-a-whirl. Into a tilt-a-whirl. Frankensteiner around the corner. And now the clothesline is ducked again. Mecurio Jr. with a sabat kick into the midsection. A kick into the thigh. And Willie Mac is in trouble as Mecurio Jr. just gave him a little bit of a sabat kick right to the temple. Mecurio Jr. in a cover. 1, 2. Sabu just punched Mecurio Jr. right in the jaw. What are we going to see next? Mecurio Jr. now picking up Willie Mac. He's going to go for a suplex as it appears. Can he get the big guy over? He hooks him now. Fisherman suplex successfully delivered and beautifully done. If he goes for a cover now, he may get the pinfall on Willie Mac, but he's going to go ahead and tag Brandon Gaston in to come and do some more damage as he lays a leg drop across the chin. Sabu coming in now to save his partner, but Brandon Gaston's not going to have any part of that as he gives a leg drop all his own. Sabu in the ring, but the referee in the way, saving Brandon Gaston from any more onslaught from Sabu. Brandon Gaston now has Willie Mac up. He's got him in position for what could be a pile driver here. Willie Mac's a big guy as he backdrops Brandon Gaston. Willie Mac needs to get over to make a tag to the fresh Sabu. Brandon Gaston and Mecurio Jr. need to put some pressure on Willie Mac, and that was a smart thing to do as Brandon Gaston kicked Willie Mac right in the face. And Willie Mac has been taking a beating ever since Brandon Gaston gave him that big clothesline on the floor. Brandon Gaston now throwing Willie Mac to the floor, and I got to be honest with you, this may be a mistake as it looks like Willie Mac's getting an opportunity to breathe, but Brandon Gaston's going to go off the ropes. What's he going to do here? Into a cartwheel, into a moonsault over the top rope, wiping Willie Mac out. All they have to do is get Willie Mac into the ring, and this match is over. Sabu down with his partner, but it's not going to do any good. Brandon Gaston just took him out. Sabu trying to will Willie Mac back into the ring. It's just not going to. Of course, now Sabu's getting it together as he goes over and helps Willie Mac into the ring. But Brandon Gaston was there to intercept, dragging Willie Mac over into the corner where his partner, Mecurio Jr., lies in wait. Mecurio Jr. now with a deep elbow right into the heart of Willie Mac. Willie Mac now suffering from this onslaught. He has got to get over to Sabu. He then flips him over, goes off the ropes, big kick kick right to the temple of Willie Mac, and he may be dead. Mecurio Jr. just killed Willie Mac. Unbelievable. Mecurio Jr. picks him up, goes over, makes a tag to Brandon Gaston. Mecurio Jr. Willie Mac trying to fight back, but Mecurio Jr. and Brandon Gaston are just too much. He then whips Willie Mac into the corner, and it looks like he's going to follow in with something all his own. Oh my gosh! You see Brandon Gaston making up some offense as he goes, but Willie Mac then gives him a big spin wheel kick right to the face. And Brandon Gaston is cold. He is out like a light. Willie Mac needs to opportunize on this moment and get over to the corner and make a tag. All he's got to do is get to Sabu. All Brandon Gaston's got to do is get to Mecurio Jr. and Willie Mac now makes the tag to Sabu, and you can hear the crowd getting fired up. Sabu with a chair throws it right into the head of Brandon Gaston, right into the face of Mecurio Jr., right into the head again. Perfect catch, by the way, of Sabu, sending Mecurio Jr. out of the floor with another chair shot. Whipping Brandon Gaston in, he flips over. Sabu's going to take advantage, but Brandon Gaston gets a good right hand in. He's then going to springboard into a diamond cutter type move, and Sabu is now in trouble. 1, 2, Willie Mac makes the save. Sabu would have never been able to kick out in time as he was finished. But Sabu now making his way back to his feet only by the help of Brandon Gaston, drop kicking the leg out from under Brandon Gaston. And what are we going to see now? Wait a minute, Willie Mac up top, big frog splash. And it looks like Mecurio Jr. fell in froggy, but he missed it, he hit his own partner. Willie Mac now with Mecurio Jr. slings him out of the ropes. Sabu climbing the rope. He's ascending to the top rope. He's got that chair. We're going to see the Arabian Face Buster. Brandon Gaston is finished. Stick a fork in him, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. 1, 2, 3. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Sabu, Willie Mac get the victory over Mecurio Jr. and Brandon Gaston right here, right now in this major main event, and the crowd are on their feet. How awesome was this to see the return to the ring of one Sabu? And of course, we'll never forget the high-flying antics of one Mecurio Jr. But to the winner goes the spoils, as we see Sabu and Willie Mac now celebrating their victory, pointing up into the air, pointing up into the lights, and hopefully we see a little bit of good sportsmanship. Sabu now shaking the hand of Mecurio Jr. with a nice little hug there. And this is what's the beauty of professional wrestling, is the fact that no matter what, we're going to be good sports and everybody's going to celebrate together. Hey guys and gals, stay tuned. We got so much more action coming with you right here at the Nichols Cross channel on YouTube. This has been Sabu and Willie Mac versus Mecurio Jr. and Brandon Gaston.